I know you. I know you. I know you. I know you, though. These words might sound simple, but they capture the complicated dynamics within one of hip-hop's most high-profile families. T.I.'s son, King Harris, has recently been at the center of a media firestorm, and what started as a youthful desire to prove himself has escalated into full-blown family chaos. For years, King has lived under the scrutiny of cameras, fans, and social media, trying to navigate fame, a high-profile household, and the pressure of living up to a legendary father. Yet the recent series of events, including a reckless arrest and the public collapse of his parents' marriage, has thrown the Harris family into turmoil. But what really happened behind the headlines? Let's unpack the chain of events that led to one of the most shocking family crises in recent celebrity history. King Harris's life has always been in the public eye, but the events of October 2024 marked a dramatic turning point. That month, King's reckless behavior reached a peak that even the most forgiving fans couldn't ignore. It began with a seemingly ordinary moment, pulling out of a gas station in his flashy BMW, driving in a way that suggested he owned the streets. In a split second, he nearly collided with a police car, an action that would trigger a catastrophic chain reaction. Officers pulled him over, and almost immediately, the smell of weed hit them. But the situation escalated further when they discovered a gun tucked into King's waistband. From that moment on, the consequences were unavoidable. The arrest turned into an even bigger disaster when authorities ran King's name and uncovered a long-standing arrest warrant dating back to 2022. This included multiple infractions: speeding, driving on a suspended license, and DUI. These weren't isolated incidents. They were a pattern of behavior that finally caught up with him. Social media erupted after the arrest footage leaked, and fans were quick to criticize. Some called him spoiled and reckless. Others mocked him as a trust fund prison punk, highlighting the perception that King was squandering the advantages of being born into a wealthy, famous family. Yet amid all the mockery and criticism, one detail stood out. For the first time, King appeared to grasp the seriousness of his situation. The cocky, defiant persona fans had grown used to was gone. His eyes told a story of someone finally understanding the consequences of his actions. Even the arresting officers admitted that his calm demeanor was surprising. He wasn't yelling, he wasn't fighting back, and he wasn't making excuses. He just sat quietly, a young man coming to face with the weight of his own choices. However, that realization couldn't prevent the inevitable. King was jailed in Dobb County before being moved to Pickens County when the warrant was recalled. While King faced the immediate consequences of his actions, the ripple effects hit his family hard. Teenie, T.I.'s wife, and King's mother decided to file for divorce shortly after the arrest. For outsiders, the split seemed sudden and shocking. Teenie and T.I. had been together for decades, surviving scandals, arrests, reality TV drama, and family hardships. But for those closer to the family, the cracks had been forming for years, and the arrest merely accelerated an already fragile situation. T.I.'s response to the chaos was equally dramatic. He did not fight to save the marriage, instead allowing Teenie to walk away without resistance. This left the family in chaos, with siblings, cousins, and extended family members pointing fingers and asking the same question: who is to blame? Was King spoiled and misguided, or did his parents fail to provide the guidance necessary to prevent his downward spiral? Teenie's divorce papers laid it out bluntly, citing King's reckless behavior as a key reason for her departure. Meanwhile, T.I. maintained that he had warned King about the dangers of his lifestyle long before the meltdown, including public appeals in 2022 when King first went viral for his antics. Tiny, however, disagreed with T.I.'s timeline of intervention. She argued that by the time he publicly addressed King's behavior, the damage was already done. T.I.'s inconsistent presence during King's upbringing had contributed to the spiral. King often lived with his grandmother, seeing his parents only during reality TV filming, and by the time T.I. was fully present, King had already adapted to a life without consistent parental guidance. In Tiny's eyes, T.I.'s absence and lack of accountability created an environment where King sought distractions and validation outside the family, ultimately leading him to reckless choices that mirrored his father's past. King's journey wasn't limited to private family struggles. It played out publicly in ways that made headlines. One infamous incident occurred at a Waffle House in 2022, triggered by something as small as extra pickles in an order. King erupted, posting a video of the confrontation online. Instead of appearing tough, he came off as spoiled, intensifying public scrutiny. T.I. later posted a video urging King to change his ways, but Tiny criticized the timing, arguing that the guidance should have come years earlier. The tension boiled over during an Atlanta Falcons game, where King and T.I.'s argument turned physical in front of fans. King claimed he didn't grow up privileged, which infuriated T.I., who reminded him that he literally grew up with a silver spoon. The confrontation, caught on camera, shocked fans and went viral. While some praised T.I. for disciplining his son, Tiny was humiliated and furious that the confrontation occurred publicly. T.I.'s actions, she felt, were both too late and unnecessarily public, further straining an already fragile relationship. Tiny's frustrations extended beyond King's behavior. She recognized a disturbing pattern. King was repeating T.I.'s own mistakes. T.I., who had once bolstered his tough guy image with jail stints, now watched his son follow the same destructive path. When T.I. publicly disowned King after the arrest, it became the breaking point for Tiny. She saw not just a young man struggling, but a reflection of the father who had raised him, perpetuating cycles of chaos and destruction. King's desperation for T.I.'s approval became clear in his public posts, including videos flexing guns online. Some speculated that King was deliberately courting jail time to prove his street credibility, while others viewed it as a cry for attention from a father who had abandoned him in his moment of need. Regardless, it highlighted a tragic family dynamic, where seeking approval and identity had become dangerously intertwined with a reckless behavior. In November 2024, King became a father, seemingly ready to embrace responsibility. He posted proudly about his newborn son, dropped a track titled "Dear Son," and appeared determined to step into a role that his father had failed to fulfill. For a brief moment, it seemed like King might find stability through fatherhood. But the timing couldn't have been worse. While King celebrated his new role online, his arrest footage continued to circulate, drawing criticism and ridicule. T.I.'s disappointment was visible, and Tiny saw it as the ultimate betrayal, her son publicly shamed while trying to embrace growth. She had stood by T.I. through past scandals, prison sentences, and public humiliation, but witnessing him disown King for behavior that mirrored his own history was unforgivable. When the divorce papers landed, it was the final confirmation that the Harris family's long-standing issues had reached a breaking point. Tiny's decision wasn't just about King. It was about breaking free from cycles of neglect, abuse, and disappointment. She chose to prioritize her own truth and her son's well-being over remaining in a relationship that had long stopped serving them. T.I., left with the consequences of silence and pride, now faces the critical question: can he rebuild his relationship with King, or is this family permanently fractured? As the drama unfolded, social media became the court of public opinion. Fans were divided. Some sided with Tiny, praising her courage for walking away and protecting her son. Others criticized T.I. for letting pride destroy both his marriage and his father-son relationship. Every post, every video, and every public statement was dissected and analyzed. King, once merely a young man navigating fame, became a symbol of the complexities and pitfalls of celebrity upbringing. The Harris family saga illustrates how fame, personal choices, and generational cycles of behavior intersect in ways that are both public and deeply personal. It's a story of reckless decisions, strained relationships, and the enduring question of accountability. For King, Tiny, and T.I., the repercussions of these choices will resonate for years, and the public remains riveted to every development.
So what happens next for the Harris family? Will T.I. swallow his pride and attempt to repair the broken bonds? Or will silence continue to push King further away? Social media is watching, fans are divided, and the story is far from over. Some argue that Tiny did the right thing by walking away, while others believe it's T.I.'s turn to step up before it's too late. One thing is certain, the Harris family drama isn't finished, and the consequences of past decisions continue to unfold in real time. What do you think? Should Tiny have acted sooner, or is it up to T.I. to mend what's been broken? Let us know in the comments.